Hi, everyone. If you've ever written a line of Java, you've probably typed one particular word hundreds of times without even thinking about it. Well, today, we're going to be detectives. We're going to solve a little puzzle that's right at the heart of every single Java application. And this is the big mystery right here. Why that specific keyword, static? I promise you, it's not just some random rule somebody made up. It's actually a super clever solution to a really tricky problem. And by the end of this, you'll get not just the what, but the all-important why behind it. All right, let's start looking for clues. So here it is, our prime suspect. This is the line of code that kicks everything off, the starting point for any Java program. And there's our main clue, highlighted for us, the word static. Now, to figure out why it's here, we first need to understand what static actually does in the rest of Java. Okay, so let's go back to basics for a minute. In the world of Java, methods really come in two main flavors. You've got your instance methods and you've got your static methods. And trust me, understanding the difference between these two is the key that's going to unlock this whole mystery for us. This table breaks it down perfectly. Think about it like this. An instance method belongs to an object, a specific, unique copy of a class, like one particular car. You actually need that object to call the method. A static method, on the other hand, belongs to the class itself, the blueprint for the car. So you don't need an object at all, you can just call it using the class's name. Let's look at an instance method in action. See here, to call the show method, we first have to create an actual object. We've called it obj1. It's only then that we can use that specific object to call the method. The method is completely tied to the data inside obj1. And now look at this. It's the complete opposite. The show1 method is static. Notice what's missing? There's no object. We don't need to create one. We just call the method directly on the mobile class itself. This little difference is a huge clue for our investigation. So now we get to a really critical piece of evidence. There's this fundamental rule in Java that controls what a static method can and cannot do. And honestly, this rule is the reason everything works the way it does. Here's the deal. A static method can directly access other static things, like static variables. No problem. But, and this is the really important part, it cannot directly access instance variables. Those are the variables that belong to individual objects, like a specific phone's brand or its price. So you gotta ask, why does this rule even exist? Well, that rule isn't just there for fun. It's there to solve a very logical, very real problem that would otherwise cause all sorts of chaos in our programs. Let's call it the which object problem. Okay, so picture this. Let's say we have our mobile class, and we've created two separate objects from it. Object 1 has a brand of Apple, and Object 2 has a brand of Samsung. Each object has its own, totally separate copy of that brand variable. Now, here's the logical puzzle. If we call that static method mobile.show1, which, remember, doesn't belong to any particular object, and we ask it to print the brand, which brand is it supposed to print? Apple? Samsung? It has literally no way of knowing which object we're talking about because it was never connected to one. And that potential for confusion is exactly why Java just says, nope, not allowed. The Java virtual machine, the JVM, would be totally confused. So to prevent that mess, the rule is simple. A static method can't directly touch instance variables. It's a rule that's born from pure, simple logic. All right, we've gathered all our clues. We now understand what static methods are, how we call them, and what they're not allowed to do. So it's time. Let's head back to our original crime scene and finally solve the mystery of the main method. Let's just imagine for a second that main was not static, okay? The JVM needs to call main to get everything started. But if main isn't static, then it's an instance method, which means we need an object to call it. But wait, how can you possibly create an object before the program has even started running? You can't. It's a total paradox, a perfect chicken and egg situation. And right here is the elegant, simple, and frankly brilliant solution to that whole paradox. The one keyword that breaks the deadlock, static. By making main static, we're essentially telling the JVM, hey, you don't need to bother creating an object. You have full permission to call this method directly on the class itself and get this whole show on the road. It completely sidesteps that chicken and egg problem. So at the end of the day, the main method is static because it absolutely has to be. It's the only way for the JVM to have a clear, non-confusing starting point to run your code without needing to create an object first. And just like that, mystery solved.
And that brings us to the end. But the investigation doesn't really have to be over. Now that you understand the real purpose of static, start looking for it in other places you've seen it in the Java library. Why do you think math.py is static or integer.parsent? The clues are everywhere now. Happy coding!